SpongicX here. Lately, I've been reviewing a lot of anime films that I saw over the summer of 2025, and the one I'm about to review will be the last movie I plan on reviewing for quite a while. Sadly, these reviews barely got any views. I still had fun sharing my thoughts on them, though. I've already reviewed 3 Studio Chizu films, so how about we go back in time to 2006, when Studio Chizu released their first film, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, a loose sequel to a book of the same name. I've never read the original book, nor have I seen any of the live-action adaptations of the story, but I've heard others claim that the main character of this anime adaptation is the niece of the protagonist from the original story, and she even makes an appearance in this movie all grown up. Before this movie, director Mamoru Hosoda made his debut directing the first 3 Digimon theatrical featurettes, which were compiled together to make Digimon the movie, so The Girl Who Leapt Through Time was his first full-length movie that he directed. For the first movie made by Hosoda and Studio Chizu, they did a fantastic job. This movie is really good, and it really surprised me. You know, the studio must think highly of this movie to the point where you see the main character Makoto on the logo of Studio Chizu at the beginning of every movie they make. So the movie stars a high school girl named Makoto. She's a very klutzy character. She hangs out with her 2 best friends, Kosuke and Chiaki, as they spend most of their days playing baseball after school. Makoto complains to her friends how her little sister ate her pudding cup. We see Makoto has the worst day of her life. She's late for school. She has an accident in cooking class and accidentally starts a fire. A student chucks another student at her and crushes her. During cleaning duty, Makoto hears someone in the lab next door. She goes inside but finds no one. She finds a strange item on the ground that looks like a walnut. After picking the walnut up, she trips and sees a trippy vision that takes her through the past. Makoto ends up riding her bike after school to head towards the museum to visit her aunt. For some reason, the characters refer to her as Auntie Witch, despite how she's a very nice lady. As Makoto goes down the steep hill, a train appears. She tries pulling on her brakes, but the brakes are broken and she ends up crashing and launches towards the train. Suddenly, Makoto is sent back in time by a few seconds, before the train arrived. Makoto is puzzled over this. She visits her aunt, who works at a museum as a painter. Her aunt is busy restoring a painting that has historic significance. So Makoto shares her time-traveling discovery with her aunt, as her aunt reveals something similar happened to her back when she was Makoto's age. A nice nod to the original story. So as Makoto is puzzled by what just happened, she goes at home and sits around for a little bit. She opens her window and nearly sneaks out.
No, sis, don't do it! Why are you doing this? Was it because I ate your pudding?
What do you mean?
I don't want you to die, sis!
Nobody's gonna die.
Where are you going then?
To the store.
I don't know, the little sister thinking her sister's about to kill herself just because she ate her pudding cup, as she apologizes and begs her not to do it. It's just sad, cute, yet funny at the same time. Anyways, yeah, Makoto is puzzled over how she was able to reverse getting killed by a train. So she manages to gain enough speed, and she performs a huge leap, and she's flung back to the previous day. She goes home and finds that her pudding cup is still in the fridge, so she eats it before her little sister has a chance to eat it. Makoto is curious, and she tries running and leaping again, and she warps back to the previous day again, as she once again eats up her pudding cup. She realizes she gained the ability to leap through time. Makoto decides to use these powers to goof around as she reverses all of her misfortunes until she can get things done right. She's able to make it to school on time, finish and pass her test before everyone else. She's able to swap places with another student in cooking class so she doesn't start a fire, only for the other student to start a fire and cause a conflict with some bullies. Dodge the student who was chucked at her. She ends up making a short karaoke session with her friends go on for 10 hours as she keeps rewinding time to do it all over again.
Huh? What the hell are you doing?
I fell.
How could anyone fall like that? And weren't you just sitting here like
I'm
a
not
second?
done singing yet. I've got the music in me!
What on earth happened to your voice?
We were singing
You must have sung for an awfully long time.
about 10 hours.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Makoto doesn't like what her family's making for dinner, so she just goes back in time to a previous day where her family made a meal that she enjoys. She even rewinds time to make sure she catches a baseball and hits the ball every time. So she visits her aunt again to brag about all the things she's done with her time-traveling powers. She even mentions how she gets unlimited money since she just goes back in time to the day where she gets her allowance.
Ever think that someone might be suffering from your good fortune?
Huh? You think so?
Who knows?
One day, a girl named Kaho asks Kosuke out on a date. He turns the girl down. Chiaki offers Makoto a bike ride home, as Makoto says that she's relieved Kosuke didn't go out with that girl, since him having a girlfriend would mean that they wouldn't be able to play baseball together anymore.
You want to go out?
Stop. Stop for a second. Why'd you say that?
Well,
Where's that coming from suddenly? You serious?
dead.
Chiaki then asks Makoto if she wants to go out with him sometime. Makoto doesn't know how to handle this. She just wants things to stay the way they are. She runs away and time travels back to before she got on Chiaki's bike. So she tries steering the conversation away from relationships, but Chiaki once again asks her to go out with him.
Anyway, how about you go out with me?
She goes back in time one last time to try steering the conversation, but it's no use. Chiaki still asks her out.
Hey, did I ever tell you what a total idiot my little sister is?
I was talking about Kosuke in case you didn't notice.
Forget him. Let's talk about my sister.
So anyway, if Kosuke finds a girlfriend...
Let me tell you about my sister!
You want to go out with me?
So she goes back in time and decides not to get a bike ride home from Chiaki as she avoids him entirely. The kid who caused a fire in cooking class due to Makoto's time-traveling shenanigans, he ends up getting sprayed with a hose by bullies he angered. The kid gets outraged and tries giving the boys payback by spraying them with a fire extinguisher. Makoto tries begging the kid to calm down, but he snaps and chucks the extinguisher at her. Chiaki dives in to protect Makoto. Makoto quickly time leaps to prevent Chiaki from getting injured, only for an innocent girl to get struck instead. Makoto begins to realize that time traveling really can cause harm to others. While taking a bath, Makoto notices a strange marking on her arm that looks like the number 90. Chiaki starts hanging out with another girl and starts going out with her, causing Makoto to get jealous. She decides that from now on, she's just going to use her powers to help people. She tries helping Kaho get together with Kosuke.
How do you know all that stuff about my grandmother? Who, me? I met her at the bowling alley. But my grandmother's bedridden. No, hang on, Kosuke.
She travels back to the moment where a student was chucked at her. She manages to have Kosuke get knocked over on top of Kao, and he accidentally hurts her leg. Kosuke offers to take Kao to his dad, who happens to be a doctor. Makoto looks at her arm and notices the number now says 10, only to realize she was looking at it upside down, and it now says 1. She begins worrying that the number could stand for how many time leaps she has left. In the most intense and suspenseful scene in the movie, Makoto receives a text from Kosuke saying that he's borrowing her bike so he can take Kao to the doctor. Makoto looks at the time and realizes it's the exact same time when she left and nearly got hit by the train the other day. As Makoto races down the streets, she's relieved to see no sign of Kosuke on her bike. She receives a phone call from Chiaki.
Have you been... time leaping?
Makoto freaks out and uses her last time leap to rewind time and prevent Chiaki from asking her the question again. As she gets off the phone with Chiaki, she is horrified to see Kosuke and Kao ride past her as the train is approaching. Makoto desperately chases after them, screaming and begging for them to stop. She tries time leaping, but she realizes she's all out of time leaps. She screams in horror as her friends get hit by the train. Only for time to freeze and rewind. Suddenly, she sees the train go by, but Kosuke and Kao are nowhere to be seen. She turns around and sees Chiaki. She asks Chiaki where Kosuke and Kao are. Chiaki says that they're at home, and he reveals that he's a time leaper from the future. He reveals how where he's from, they have these devices that allow people to time travel, but they only have limited uses. He pulls out the walnut Makoto found in the lab the other day, but it crumbles. He reveals the machine gives people a limited number of charges, but he just used up his last charge and can never return back to his own time. Makoto asks him why he wasted his last time leap, as Chiaki reveals that before he used his last time leap, Kosuke and Kao were indeed killed by the train, and he couldn't bear seeing Makoto blaming herself for the accident. So he used his last time leap to go back in time and help his friends. He reveals that he traveled back in time to see a painting that was destroyed. The painting carries a lot of historic significance to his people. He just wanted to see it during a time where it was available, but it wasn't there. He decided to stay because he became friends with Makoto and Kosuke and just didn't want to leave them. He mentions how in his timeline, baseball isn't a thing anymore. Makoto reveals that the painting he's looking for is being restored right now, and he should be able to see it soon. But it's too late. He broke a rule to never inform people from the past about time travel, and now he'll disappear.
You said we'd go to a night game together.
Sorry.
And that we'd go to see a fireworks festival.
I'm really sorry.
So this means you don't want to see me in a yukata?
Sorry. I would like to have seen that.
Makoto begs him not to go, but there's nothing she can do. Time resumes and Chiaki is gone. Makoto grieves the loss of her friend, but suddenly she notices the number 01 marked on her arm. She realizes that Chiaki's last time leap took them back in time before she used her last time leap. So she decides to go all the way back to the beginning of the film. She meets up with Chiaki and reveals how she knows he's a time leaper. She explains how she found his time travel device and used up all of its power on foolish things. She points out how he still has one time leap left, and he decides that he's going to use it to return back home. In the most heartbreaking scene of the movie, Makoto has to say goodbye to Chiaki. She was afraid of him confessing his feelings to her earlier in the movie, but now she's ready to return his feelings. Chiaki says there's something important he's been meaning to tell her for a long time. Instead of confessing his feelings for her, he just tells her,
Don't go getting yourself hurt by jumping out in front of things, okay?
Aww.
I'm serious. You need to be more careful. The old look before you leap thing, it definitely works.
Unbelievable. That's the last thing you have to say to me?
I'm looking out for you, stupid.
Fine then. Thank you so much for looking out for me. Now hurry up and go.
What are you upset about?
Just go.
See ya.
Yeah, see ya.
Right here, you can actually pinpoint the second her heart breaks in half. She turns around and angrily walks away, just to turn back around as the music heavily picks up and she sees that Chiaki is gone. She breaks into tears, questioning how he could just leave her without showing that he cares for her. She heads for home bawling her eyes out, only for Chiaki to appear. He approaches her, leans in for a hug, and tells her,
I'll be waiting for you.
Okay, I won't be long. I'll come running.
I'm not gonna lie, this scene tears me up. Hard. I was just as confused and heartbroken as Makoto was. The music and visuals during this part are incredibly well done. Now, overall, this is a great movie, but I'm aware that there are people who felt like the movie fell apart during the reveal of Chiaki being a time traveler. Personally, I think it could have worked if it was rewritten better, but there are just so many plot holes to it. Some thought it was stupid that his whole motivation for time traveling was to see a painting. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I don't get it, because there are plenty of people who basically make a living searching for lost art or media. I myself always wanted to play a cancelled video game called 12 Tales Conquer 64, so I can understand the desire to wish you could go back in time and play it before it disappeared forever. So, the problem is that we just don't know how Chiaki wasted all of his other time leaps. When Makoto first discovers her limit, the number said 6 charges were left. She thought it said 90, but she was looking at it upside down. We never got a clear answer on how many time leaps she had to begin with, since we didn't see the markings on her arm until she only had 6 left. Yeah, many of her time leaps happened off-screen, so we don't know how many time leaps she made. She could have had 100 time leaps for all we know, but... So, if Chiaki was so disappointed that he couldn't see the painting he always wanted to see, why didn't he just use one of his time leaps to go back to a previous time and see it from there? I don't know. Yeah. I don't get why his first choice to seeing a painting had to be roughly the year 2006 instead of, going back to a time closer to when it was first made. So, I feel like they should have written the film to not make Chiaki's timeline sound like a miserable dystopia. He flat out said that baseball isn't even a thing there anymore. There's paintings that are missing. So, if it's such a miserable place, why does he want to go back? I don't know. Is he required to go back? Or I don't know. Also, how was he able to freeze time to save Kosuke and Koa? A lot of it honestly doesn't make sense. They only have the ability to travel through time, not freeze time, so I really don't know. Some parts of the movie just don't make much sense if you think about it too hard, but I'm not going to let that ruin the movie for me. One thing I don't get is that before Chiaki returns home, Makoto tells him that she'll make sure that the painting he's looking for will be there when he gets back. How? What makes her think that she can change the future like that? What can she do? So overall, it is a beautiful cautionary tale about growing up, along with how precious, fragile, and harsh time can be. Throughout the movie, there was a phrase that kept popping up: time waits for no one. And this movie perfectly demonstrates that. I loved Makoto. She was such a silly main character. I liked her friend circle. It was sad to see her having to face reality and accept that things have to change. No matter how many times she goes back to undo misfortunes, they still happen one way or another. We just gotta learn to accept it and move on with our lives, while cherishing the memories we made, along with the time we have left. I give The Girl Who Leapt Through Time a 9 out of 10. That's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and have a great day.